What's going on, everybody? Aidan from Birds vs. Boys here, and it is schedule release week in the NFL. Now, we've already got some leaks. We've already got some schedule announcements. At the time of recording, the full schedule will be out Thursday at 8 p.m., but the Eagles are already impacted with some of the things going on, and they have an announcement of a game themselves. So let's do that today, and then Kevin and I will be back tomorrow. We're going to guess the schedule ahead of time before it gets released and see how many of those games that we get correctly. Before we get into any of it, make sure to like and subscribe. Again, since the draft, a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new content for us, so we'll keep it coming. The release week is also a really fun week for us. We love the draft, but we also try to guess the schedule and, play that game where we figure out how many wins are on it in May before anybody steps on the field. So let's get into it right away. Like I said, there's a few leaks, there's a few announcements. It impacts the Eagles in a variety of ways, but most importantly, let's start here. The Eagles have a game that has been announced for them, and it's pretty special. I'm not going to lie. Giants, Eagles, December 25th. Yep, Christmas, 4:30. I think this is going to be awesome. I am a fan of Christmas games. No matter what sport it is, I find my Sixers, as I'm sporting the shirt, they play on Christmas a lot. The Eagles have played on Christmas before. Most recently, they played the Raiders on Christmas, a Nick Foles game in which they won the Super Bowl that year. And they played on Christmas Eve last year. Obviously, that didn't go as well as we would have hoped, but we did get to play, and it is a special time. It's kind of that prime time. So I'm looking at this. Okay, 4:30. I can open my presents. We can have Christmas dinner as a family, and then we can all scream at the television together. And isn't that what the essence of Christmas is all about? And I'm just thinking of all the families in the New York, New Jersey area who are going to be screaming at their televisions. He can't keep getting away with it, as Boston Scott scores another touchdown against the Giants. So this is great, a good divisional game. I think this was a great choice by the NFL to have the Giants and Eagles on Christmas. I do like that it is a month or like a prime time kind of game, like 4:30, and I like that it's a divisional game. I just like everything about it. So I think this is a really good spot for the fans, for the Eagles, for everything involved. So that'll be awesome. And I say that's awesome now when they lose on Christmas and ruin Christmas. Sorry, Jesus. Sorry, your birthday party was so lame. I will resent that and be like, no more holiday games ever. So that's a really interesting one. Now let's get into some other schedule release things that have happened that we know about. There's a few leaks, but these ones have been officially announced. One impacts the Eagles, and it's related to this Christmas game. So Christmas this year falls on a Monday, which means out of this game, luckily they're playing at home, but you're going to get a short week out of this. So there was a lot of talk the Eagles could be the Black Friday game. It is going to be Dolphins versus the Jets. I think the Jets are going to end up on prime time a lot. They're already sitting courtside at MSG at every Knicks game. They've been at the NHL hockey games as well when the Rangers were in it. So they're going to be a primetime darling. It makes sense that Amazon, with this first Black Friday game, is taking the opportunity to put those Jets on there. I think there was a lot of talk that the Eagles would be that game, but I can see why they are not, given that they are already getting a short week out of this Christmas game. I'm assuming, again, this is a 4:30 game, so this isn't even technically Monday Night Football. We'll probably end up on Monday Night Football another time. We have this game, so we're going to have multiple short weeks. So it makes a lot of sense that we didn't get the Black Friday game and the Christmas game. I'm okay with it. I think the Black Friday thing would have been cool. I think it's just like one of the best sports weeks where from Thanksgiving all through Sunday, it's just nonstop sports. If you work Friday and you have like a classic 9-to-5 job, you don't do much as it is. A lot of people have off that day, or a lot of people do take off and just give themselves a 4-day weekend. So you're nothing but binging sports. So that's a good spot. I think it's a good idea by the NFL to have that game, but it will not be the Eagles. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. And I think it'll be an opportunity for the Eagles going forward. I think they're going to have a lot of primetime games this year, but I'm pretty much okay with it not being that. So we'll be all right with that going forward. Now, international games. Those have all been announced as well, and this impacts the Eagles too. So we'll just run through them quick. Week 4, Atlanta, Jacksonville. Week 5, Jacksonville, Buffalo. That's hilarious that Jacksonville will be there 2 weeks in a row. We get closer and closer to this just being a London Jaguars thing. Week 6, Baltimore, Tennessee. Week 9, Miami at Kansas City. Week 10, Indianapolis, New England. Highlight that, we're coming back. Week 12, the Black Friday game. That's already been announced. And then So these are actually some of just the games that have been announced, and we'll just get into this. But the biggest thing, those international games, the Eagles and the Patriots play this year. There was talk that the Eagles could be an international game against New England. That looks like it's not going to happen. It'll be Indianapolis, New England. This I am thrilled by. I have no need for the Eagles to go overseas. I think that's a lot. They played the Jaguars back in 2018 in London. It was cool. They won. It was at 9 a.m., so you had your whole day in front of you. I'm okay with never doing that again. It's fine. It's totally fine. I think that's a lot of travel. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of hoopla with it being an international game. It's just never worth it. Leave that to the AFC South. No offense to those teams, but like we can see the writing on the wall. Like we're gonna get stuck with the Jaguars playing in London because they can't house the team in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence, just be good, man, so that we don't have to send all of our teams over to London every single year. Now, one last one. I have up the full schedule releases here. Cincinnati, Kansas City, week 17, 425. You're saying, wow, that's really late in the year. So this is a New Year's Eve game that the NFL is trying. It looks like there's a lot of emphasis on taking advantage of these holidays. College football usually has New Year's Day, and the NBA's had Christmas, and college football is at Thanksgiving. No longer. The evil empire, the monopoly is here, and they are kicking ass when it comes to holidays, and they're taking them over. So that's why that Kansas City-Cincinnati game is so late. It is the new New Year's Eve game that the NFL is trying out. Why this impacts the Eagles? Okay, the Chiefs play the Bengals, the Bills, and the Eagles this year, all at home. Those would all make for great season openers. That Thursday night game, they raise the banner. They play the game to kick off the season. Cincinnati is clearly off the list. So that leaves the Bills and that leaves the Eagles. I've thought for the longest time, and we'll get into the Donna Kelsey thing here in a second. I've thought for the longest time, it just makes sense for Kansas City to play the Eagles week 1. How often do you get a Super Bowl rematch? It's a 1 in 4th chance that you're even playing the division that would be in the Super Bowl because you're playing one out of every 4 in those divisions of the opposite conference every 4 seasons. So they would be tough to begin with to even get the teams on, and then for them to be playing at the team who won the Super Bowl, even better. It just feels like you don't get this opportunity often. So why wouldn't you go ahead with it? But again, I think we've all seen the Donna Kelsey Facebook post at this point. I don't know if it's true. It's what she's heard, I guess. That's hilarious that Donna Kelsey is breaking news for the NFL now. But she said that Eagles would be at the Chiefs week 2. So I guess that leaves maybe Bills, maybe Chargers week 1. Again, I still am reserved that I think just having the possibility for the Super Bowl rematch, unless there's some television contract thing involved where they couldn't get the sign off on that, and there's a new policy that you can bid on games. Every game is a quote unquote free agent. So maybe somebody bought that game. That makes it week 2. It'll make it prime time on some other network that doesn't have the kickoff game in week 1. That's the only thing that I can think of, but I'm still kind of reserved that you could have that Super Bowl rematch week 1. And I thought another thing, if it wasn't the Eagles week 1, what the NFL could have done, and they opted for a different route, and I get this whole holiday strategy, they take both conference championship games from last year and make them rematches week 1. We do play the 49ers at home. Cincinnati plays Kansas City on the road. Those would be the exact rematches. It was at Philly. It was at Kansas City. All 4 teams playing each other week 1. Let's kick it off like that. I think that would have been a good idea. I think the people would have liked that. So I again, it's not going to happen now. I totally understand that this emphasis of wanting to be, on the holidays, take over the holidays from the other sports. So we'll see. Again, the schedule gets released this Thursday, 8 o'clock. We'll have leaks trickle in as it goes. But right now, this is what we got. We kind of have, we start to piece the puzzle together. We've got one game. We know the other teams that we're playing, they have some games. So we know we don't fall in there. This is the best thing to do, is just kind of, like it's a good Sudoku puzzle to do. And then we react, we figure out how we go 17-0. I think, again, this will be a tougher schedule for the Eagles this year. There's a lot of marquee matchups, and it'll just make the schedule release that more interesting this year with big names like the 49ers rematch, the Chiefs rematch, the divisional games versus Dallas. That's what this entire show is all about. So that'll be a lot of fun. We'll get into more of it. Like I said, Kevin and I are going to try to guess the entire schedule. We've done so many mock drafts. We're now going to do a mock schedule. See if we can figure that out. But for now, Christmas. See you there. Open your presents. Open your last present, which will be Boston Scott scoring against the Giants, which always happens. Enjoy. We'll be back with more leaks, with more schedule announcements, everything like that. And then let's figure out how to get back to the Super Bowl from there.